The Munger rule to make 10x fewer decisions and 10x more money. What if the biggest secret to getting rich isn't about working harder? What if it's not about making more investments or checking the market every single day? What if the real key to building massive wealth is actually doing less? The world tells you that a busy mind is a smart mind, that every opportunity must be seized, and that true success is a result of 1,000 small, frantic decisions. They've sold you the lie that constant action is the only path to a bigger bank account. But one man, Charlie Munger, proved that was a fatal mistake. He built a fortune by making 10 times fewer decisions than everyone else, and the secret behind it is not what you think. It's a single, powerful rule that will make you calmer, wiser, and far richer. Stay here, because once you understand this rule, you'll realize that the fastest path to wealth is often to stand completely still. Part 1. The Decision Fatigue Trap. Most people are trapped in what Charlie Munger called the decision fatigue trap. They believe every moment presents a new opportunity that must be seized, a new stock to buy, a new course to take, or a new business to start. This constant need to act, to make a decision, exhausts your mental energy. It leads to impulsive choices, regret, and ultimately, poor results. You're so busy chasing every shiny object that you never stop to ask if you're chasing the right thing. Munger knew this was a losing game. He understood that every single decision you make, no matter how small, costs you a piece of your most valuable resource, your mental clarity. He developed a counterintuitive rule to escape this trap entirely. Block 1. The 2-hour rule. While others were busy frantically making decisions, Munger had a different routine. He famously spent at least 2 hours every day simply reading and thinking, with no distractions. This wasn't a hobby. It was his primary work. The world is built to reward short-term action, but Munger understood that the highest leverage activity is deep, focused thought. By dedicating 2 hours a day to filling his mind with knowledge and connecting disparate ideas, he was able to avoid the need for impulsive, panicked decisions later on. The time you spend on deep thought is not wasted. It's an investment that will save you from 100 bad decisions down the road. Block 2. The fat pitch rule. The conventional wisdom is to swing at every ball that comes your way. Munger's wisdom, by contrast, was to wait for the perfect one. This is his fat pitch rule. In baseball, a fat pitch is a slow, easy-to-hit ball that sails right over the plate. A great batter doesn't swing at every pitch thrown at them. They wait patiently for the one they know they can hit out of the park. Munger and Buffett approached investing and business the exact same way. They were known for passing on hundreds, even thousands, of opportunities that looked good on paper. They weren't looking for a good opportunity, they were waiting for a no-brainer, a fat pitch that was so obvious and so safe, it would be a mistake not to swing. While everyone else was constantly active, buying and selling, Munger and Buffett were sitting on their hands, conserving their most precious resources, their mental energy and capital. They understood that the game is not won by being busy, but by being right on the few decisions that truly matter. This discipline of doing nothing is a superpower that most people are too impatient to master. It's the single most powerful filter you can apply to your financial life. If you're ready to start playing the game smarter, not harder, then you're in the right place. Your journey to thinking like a billionaire starts right now. Click the subscribe button and join the thinkers who are learning to see what others don't. And go ahead and hit that like button to show that you're ready to change the way you think.
Talk frequently about having the moral imperative to be rational, and yet as humans we're constantly carrying this evolutionary baggage which gets in the way of us thinking rationally. Are there any tools or behaviors you embrace to facilitate your rational thinking?
The answer is of course. I hardly do anything else. And one of my favorite tricks is the inversion process. And I'll give you an example. When I was a meteorologist in World War 2, they told me how to draw weather maps and predict the weather. But what I was actually doing is clearing pilots to take flights. And he just reversed the problem. I inverted. I said, suppose I wanted to kill a lot of pilots. What would be the easy way to do it? And I soon concluded that the only easy way to do it would be to get the planes into icing the planes couldn't handle, or to get the pilot into a place where he'd run out of fuel before he could safely land. So I made up my mind I was going to stay miles away from killing pilots by either icing or getting them into sucked-in conditions when they couldn't land. I think that helped me be a better meteorologist in World War II. I just reversed the problem. And if somebody hired me to fix India, I would immediately say, what could I do if I really wanted to hurt India? And I'd figure out all the things that could most easily hurt India, and then I'd figure out how to avoid them. Now, you'd say it's the same thing, it's just in reverse, but it works better frequently to invert the problem. If you're a meteorologist, it really helps if you really know how to avoid something, which is the only thing that's going to kill your pilots. You can help India best if you understand what will really hurt India the easiest and worst. Algebra works the same way. Every great algebraist inverts all the time because the problems are solved easier. Human beings should do the same thing in the ordinary walks of life. Just constantly avert. You don't think of what you want, you think what you want to avoid. Or when you're thinking what you want to avoid, you also think about what you want. And you just go back and forth all the time. Peter Kaufman, who's here today, he likes the idea that you want to know how the world looks from the top looking down, and you want to know what it looks like from the bottom looking up. If you don't have both points of view, your reality recognition is lousy. Peter's right. And inversion is the same thing. Just such a simple trick to think, how does this look from the people above me? How does it look from the people beneath me? How can I hurt these people I'm trying to help? All these things help you think it through. And they're such simple tricks. They're like the lever. They really help. And yet our great educational systems give advanced degrees. They don't teach people these simple tricks. They're wrong. They're just plain wrong.
Block 3. The opportunity cost of action. Most people only think about the opportunity cost of inaction, the money they could have made if they had acted. Munger believed the real danger was the opportunity cost of action. When you make a quick, bad decision, the true cost is not just the money you lose, but the fact that you no longer have the time, energy, and capital to take advantage of the next great opportunity. By making 10x fewer decisions, Munger ensured that his resources were always ready for the moment the perfect opportunity appeared. He wasn't afraid of missing out on a small win because he was focused on not losing the big war. He knew that the only way to have the capital and the mental clarity to seize a truly life-changing opportunity was to avoid the temptation of 100 small, impulsive ones. Block 4. The inversion rule as a decision filter. Instead of asking, how can I make money from this? Munger's first question was always, how can I lose money from this? This is the powerful principle of inversion. When you're faced with a decision, your natural inclination is to focus on the positive outcome. This is a mental shortcut that blinds you to all the potential dangers and pitfalls. By inverting the problem and forcing yourself to think about what could go wrong, you instantly filter out 90% of bad ideas. Munger would apply this to everything. When considering a new partnership, he wouldn't just ask, how can we succeed? He would ask, what is the single fastest way this partnership could fail? By focusing on the worst-case scenario, he could take steps to prevent it or simply walk away. This mental model instantly reduces the number of decisions you have to make by eliminating the foolish ones right from the start. It forces you to confront the hidden risks that your optimistic brain desperately wants to ignore. This is the difference between an average investor and a billionaire investor. But to truly master this mindset, you need a roadmap. And the best roadmap is the book Poor Charlie's Almanac. It's the Bible of Munger's thinking. I promise you, once you read it, you'll never look at the world the same way again. The link to the book is in the description. Oh, and to make sure you don't miss out on more analyses like this, hit subscribe and leave a like. Block 5. The anti-ego rule. The primary driver of bad decisions is not a lack of intelligence. It's a surplus of ego. Munger believed that if you want to make fewer mistakes, you must first get your ego out of the way. Ego makes you think you know everything. It prevents you from admitting when you are wrong and makes you believe you can conquer any challenge, even if it's outside your circle of competence. Munger famously said he wanted to know where he was going to die so he would never go there. That's the ultimate anti-ego mindset. Instead of trying to prove how smart he was by being in every hot market, he focused on avoiding situations that could lead to a catastrophic mistake. He was perfectly comfortable saying, "I don't know," or "That's not in my wheelhouse." This humility allowed him to filter out hundreds of decisions driven by a need to prove himself, and instead focus on the few decisions that were genuinely smart. It takes immense self-awareness to admit your weaknesses and limits, but Munger knew that this was a strength that made him far more money than a big ego ever could. Part 2. The Munger Checklist for Less Decision-Making. How do you apply this Munger rule to your own life and start making 10x fewer decisions? It's not about being lazy. It's about being strategic. Here is a simple checklist to guide your choices. Checklist Item 1. The too hard rule. Before you make a decision, ask yourself, is this too hard to figure out? If the answer is yes, walk away. Munger and Buffett famously only invested in businesses they could understand. By instantly eliminating anything that was too hard, they reduced their universe of decisions to a manageable few. Checklist Item 2. The regret filter. Munger would often ask, what am I going to regret the most? He wasn't focused on what he would gain, but what he would lose. By inverting the problem and focusing on avoiding regret, he automatically filtered out all the impulsive decisions that would lead to long-term pain. Checklist Item 3. The Wait 24 Hours Test. When faced with a high-pressure decision, Munger would recommend waiting 24 hours. Most of the emotional urges and biases that cause bad decisions fade away after a short period. This simple act of waiting allows your rational mind to catch up and make a wiser choice. Block 6. The Power of a No and the Inversion of Effort. The most powerful word in Munger's vocabulary was no. The average person uses their time and energy saying yes to every opportunity that comes their way. They chase leads, take on extra projects, and enter new markets without a clear plan. They believe that saying yes will lead to more success. Munger saw this as the ultimate trap. He saw that every yes was a decision that required time, energy, and attention. By making 10x fewer decisions, he was simply saying no to 99% of the noise. The inversion of effort is this. Instead of trying to work harder to make more money, you work smarter by doing less. When you say no to 99 mediocre ideas, you free up your time and energy for the one truly great idea that will change your life. Block 7. The Mental Models Framework. The reason Munger could make fewer decisions is that he wasn't starting from scratch every time. He had a mental toolkit of proven ideas and frameworks called mental models. Imagine you're a builder. Instead of inventing a new tool for every job, you have a set of universal tools: a hammer, a saw, a ruler that can be applied to almost any problem. Munger's mind was a collection of these mental models from physics, psychology, economics, and history. When a new problem or investment opportunity arose, he didn't need to panic and make a snap decision. He could simply pull a mental model from his toolkit, analyze the situation, and immediately see the right course of action. This framework of mental models allowed him to solve complex problems with minimal effort, eliminating the need for constant, frantic, and emotional decision-making. Block 8. The quality over quantity philosophy. In a world obsessed with doing more, Munger was obsessed with doing better. His philosophy was simple. One high-quality decision is worth 100 low-quality ones. Most people's lives are a collection of hundreds of mediocre decisions, which, when compounded over time, lead to a mediocre outcome. They buy 100 different stocks, start 10 different side hustles, and attend a dozen different seminars. Munger made a handful of great decisions buying Coca-Cola, See's Candies, and a few others and held them for decades. He didn't need to constantly be active because he had the patience to wait for a truly incredible opportunity and the discipline to go all in on it. This focus on making only high-quality decisions is the ultimate secret to having a truly exceptional outcome. The checklist defense. In high-stakes situations, even the smartest people can make simple mistakes. Munger and Buffett understood this, and they used a simple but powerful tool to fight it: the checklist. Like a pilot going through a pre-flight checklist, they would run through a set of mandatory questions before making any major decision. This wasn't about being uncreative. It was about preventing catastrophic failures caused by simple oversights. For example, a checklist might include questions like, is this investment outside our circle of competence? Are we buying this because of ego or because of a rational analysis? What is the worst-case scenario here? This simple tool eliminates the need for frantic, emotional decisions and replaces them with a calm, rational, and repeatable process. The circle of competence as an ultimate limiter. The most elegant way Munger made fewer decisions was by ruthlessly defining his circle of competence. This isn't just about what you know. It's about what you purposely exclude from your consideration. Imagine a chess grandmaster. They don't try to master every single opening. They pick one or two that they know cold. A novice, by contrast, tries to learn every opening and ends up mastering none. For Munger and Buffett, their circle of competence was a mental wall. Anything that fell outside of it, like .com stocks in the 90s or complex derivatives, was immediately discarded. This single act of self-limitation allowed them to ignore 99% of the world's opportunities and focus all of their mental energy on the few that they knew they could master. This is the ultimate tool for avoiding decision fatigue and directing all your power to where it matters most. The Munger bet. Munger's entire career was a high-stakes bet. He bet against the world. He bet against the idea that you have to be busy to be successful. He bet against the media, who are constantly pushing for new, exciting stories. He bet against the financial industry, which makes money on every single transaction you make. He bet that the best path to wealth was not a complicated, active one, but a simple, almost boring one. This isn't just a philosophy. It's a radical act of defiance. When you adopt Munger's rule, you're making a bet against every other person in the room. You're betting that your calm, patient inaction will beat their frantic, stressed-out activity. And history has proven him right. This isn't a game of luck. It's a game of psychology, and Munger simply chose not to play. The one thing you must get rid of. So, after all of these rules, what is the single, most important thing you have to get rid of to make fewer decisions and more money? It's not your debt, your bad investments, or a lack of knowledge. It is your need to be right all the time. The constant need to be right is what fuels all the bad decisions. It makes you stay in a losing trade. It makes you argue with people. It makes you ignore a better solution. Munger was a master of being wrong. He would famously admit when he was wrong and pivot quickly. By getting rid of the need to be right, you free yourself from the psychological prison that forces you to make bad decisions to save face. When you can admit you were wrong, you can finally start to be profitable. If you've made it this far, it's because you don't want to be one of the crowd. You want the knowledge that actually moves you forward. Our next video is going to be just as impactful. but only if you're a member of our community of thinkers. Subscribe now to make sure you don't miss the next step towards success. And hit that like button to show you're all in. For a deeper dive, check out the link to Poor Charlie's Almanac in the description.